I witnessed them going in and coming out. I wrote them, I visited them. Prison has such a bad impact. Let me tell you what my son went through. I watched my son, okay, we're gonna keep it together, but I watched my son's whole countenance change. Everything I instilled in him, all the love and peace and joy, everything I put inside of him, it changed. It changed, it broke him. And this is me from my observation as a mother. It hurt me to my core because what he got charged with, it was harsh. Because you got folks out here ripping up the city. And there's a slap on the hand because if you know the DA or you know the judge or you know somebody on the inside, it's going to be minimal. But you take our Black people and you lock them heavily down because I was looking at the statistics and it's not right. Because in California, 2017, Black men, 4,236 Black men out of 100,000 people. That's 10% more than white people, okay? Black women is 5%. You got 171 Black women per 100,000 that's locked up when you only got 30 white women. So there's something that's not lining up right because they get into trouble too. So why is it uneven? But I watched my family members come out. They didn't have no exit interview and to find out what type of resources they needed. How could they get back into some legitimate work that'll keep them here out on the streets so they don't go back? They didn't get those resources, not in California. Now, my uncle up in Oregon, yeah, they put him somewhere to stay. They gave him a job, all these resources, but not here in California. And I had to watch my son because you know what? My son been locked up 3 more years now. And we fighting a heavy case again because from the first time when they put that gang mess on him, it affected him this time. So they mess you around with that because if you be in the vicinity of somebody messing up, you getting the same charges that them people get. If you in a car, if you hanging with them, you getting them same charges. So tell me about reform. Now he's back in your hands because you gave him some rope to hang yourself the first time.
And sis, again, my heart goes out to you because I remember what it was like for my mother. She cried every day for the first couple of years that I was incarcerated. And like I say, I went in at 19, came out at 26. And yeah, anybody who's been inside tells you it changes you. You to survive inside of that system, you can't function the same way because it's a different world in there. And I think for me personally, one of the biggest victories that I had was after I came out, most people never knew I'd been in. And that was one of the biggest things for me I wanted to work on because I understood the stigma that I would always have on my life because of that experience. And one of the other reasons, and this is culturally that we have to really start talking about, is the psychological aspect of how our culture celebrates the prison-bound activities. Now, there was a meeting reported back in the mid to early 90s where music executives, prison officials got together and came up with almost a marketing scheme through music to control the messaging, the imagery, and everything within our culture that was popular to point us as Black people, and particularly young Black men, towards activities that they had already decided they would criminalize. And this is part of the reform aspect that we also have to address within our community. How many of the mindsets and the activities are we continuing to embrace and celebrate that give the ideology that pushes us towards these activities that they're waiting to catch us up in this system? Because once we get caught up in it, they're not going to let us out. And again, we have to reform ourselves. And again, expecting the system to do it, they're not going to do it. They're making money off of it. This is a process that we ourselves are going to have to own because ain't nobody coming to save us.
Wow, Mark, you must have been at my event last night. Powerful sister, that's what she said.